I'd like to welcome you to the board work session this morning, and we have several items on the agenda before we get to open forum. So let's start right out, Tom, with septic failure.
The first one is we received a request from 7 Henrietta Lane. Their septic system had failed, and they requested to go across common property. They actually purchased land somewhat adjacent to their current location, and they needed that to be able to extend and add a new field. The board, in order to expedite the situation on behalf of the property owner, an email was sent out to each board member asking for an email vote. 8 members of the board responded, all of them with an affirmative vote. The 9th did not respond at all. We will need to formalize this vote at next Thursday's meeting.
Okay. Discussion? Just for clarification, my understanding is there will be none of the field or any of the septic system parts itself will be on our property, common property, only the pipe goes through.
That's
correct?
my understanding.
Okay, so that's how it's different than others.
It's different. In most cases, the leach field is on the common property, or that's what they request.
Right.
In this case, he just needs to get to the other piece of
Since
property.
he purchased the second property, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so that will be voted on next Thursday.
Correct. The next item just came to our attention. The House Bill 1737, which is now Act 788, by the Arkansas Department of Health Engineering Section and Public Health Laboratory. They are passing an increase in their fee from 30 cents to 40 cents. This is a 10-cent per meter per month increase. This is a pass-through. Normally we charge our users, our water users, this 30 cents per month. We are requesting that the board approve this 10-cent increase, and effectively what the state is charging us, we would then charge the property owner. The only unfortunate thing here is while we have not had a rate increase since 2007, earlier this year we had a 81-cent increase, which was a pass-through, and then we would have another increase. So that's a little unfortunate, but in both cases these are increases in costs that we're passing through. Keep in mind that if the board were to vote in the affirmative on this proposal, that we would, by law, need to notify our residents on 2 of their bills. So the increase would go into effect in August, September. I think it's August.
And it needs a vote on Thursday?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Just question, with 14,000 meters, this would be $1,400 a month additional
That is correct.
per meter, so $18,000 a year on a budget of $8 million.
Yes.
It's passed through, the money goes to the state, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's almost like a sales tax increase. Not exactly, but
Do we have a management recommendation?
management is recommending that we pass through the fee.
Other questions or concerns? Okay, so that will be voted on next Thursday also.
Okay. The next item is for the 2018 budget. The board formally approved a large number of capital projects. As a result of the Trafalgar Road fire and cutbacks, what we need to do is formalize the projects that we're now going to cancel because inherently, or the board has said, management go and do this project, and we now need the board to say, management, don't do this project, effectively, in a very simplistic way. So on page 4 of your packet, you will see the list of all the projects that have been canceled. Now, these are only capital projects. If you watch the video, I mentioned $1 million and $1 million worth of cutbacks. The balance is from the operating budget, and that doesn't require a vote of the board to cut the operating budget, but the capital budget does. There are 2 projects that are not fully canceled, they're just reduced in size. So if you go about midway down, you'll see general grounds maintenance. You'll see that $15,000. It started at 30, it went down to 15. The other part of the project we had to do. And then the second to last one from the bottom, the water line replacement, the original budget was $300,000. We cut out $200,000, so we're spending $100,000. So those are reductions. All the other ones are cancellations of projects, and it amounts to $626,400 in savings. And as I indicated, this is capital savings. The remainder of the $1 million balance is in operations. And this would require a vote next week.
Okay, question or statement. This was developed with the individual managers.
Yes, we sat down with each department head to try and get as much as possible. We focused on if the item was broken and absolutely needed to be replaced, or if it was a safety-sensitive issue, then we kept that in place. For example, the crossing at Dogwood, the road crossing, that was a project that was approved by the board, and we kept it in because we felt that it would improve the safety of our customers by having that capital expenditure. So those type of projects we kept in, but anything else we pulled out.
Okay, any discussion?
Do we have any plans, or how do we intend to let our membership know that we do not intend to continue down a slippery slope of cutting capital projects forever? I mean, we just got done spending a lot of money upgrading things that had been sitting and neglected for so long. I don't want to see us get there again. So, Tom?
Well, and you make a good point, and I'm going to use loose numbers. Dwayne can jump in and correct me on the numbers. The rule of thumb typically is that you should spend in capital each year what you have in depreciation. It's not a hard and fast number if you have a special project that needs more or less, something like that. But it's a good rule of thumb. And our annual depreciation is about $2 million, and with these cutbacks, we'll probably spend $300,000 or $400,000 this year. The average resident is not going to necessarily see that, see those reductions, or feel that impact of that cutback in the first year. Maybe not even in the second year, but by the third, fourth year, you're going to start seeing a return back to what had occurred years ago when I got here, which was infrastructure that was in poor condition and had not been provided with sufficient funding to keep it at a state that is acceptable for our residents and our membership. So David makes a very good point. It is that with this, I mean, the budget was thin before we make the cuts. It's even thinner now. It's in some ways a pay me now, pay me later type situation. But when you have when we have a big bill such as the fire coming around, you do what you can. Did that answer your question, David?
Well, I'm just concerned that the general membership will not understand. You know, I can just see it now. Well, you must have had a bunch of fat in the budget because look how easily you cut these things out. And, you know, I get upset when people don't understand that depreciation is to be reinvested. And it, you know, we're not doing our fiduciary responsibility if we don't maintain what we've put good money into, you know, refurbishing and keeping it up for the membership. And like you say, you won't notice anything right away, but, you know, well, here's a hot mix overlay on a parking lot. That's gonna start to show. After a couple of years, it's gonna be very obvious. And some of these things don't show, you know, the root pruner. You know, that's a very small expense, and it saves, you know, what has been about $100,000 bill every few years to redo cart paths. And that machine will go on forever. I mean, that's a long time that machine will be in use, but, you know, it's definitely a pay me now or pay me twice later.
That's 100% accurate.
I don't know, how can we get the word out to the membership? It's just, you know, I mean,
These are all items that were presented at the budget meeting, and people saw that we needed them. And it was discussed at the time how we did need them, but for lack of better words, when you need money, you gotta find it, so.
yeah, with the, you know, the pressing need right now, no doubt, the pressing need is the fire. We have to get that thing out. And, you know, we're gonna get that job done, but we're gonna be a little bit behind the 8 ball for the next budget. You know, we're gonna have to do something, and I'm assuming that this will be part of the campaign for an assessment increase, is that we need to keep our facilities up to snuff. And that's part of what we're asking for.
Absolutely.
Anyone else for discussion? If not, we'll move it to Thursday for a vote.
The next item on the agenda on page 5, the Recreation Committee met yesterday and they unanimously recommended a second term for committee member Chris Stockman and Gary Griffin. So that will come to the board for a vote next week also.
Okay. I just want to say at this time, Bill Putkus has been on the rec committee for 6 years, and he's been very, very active, not only in rec and golf, et cetera, in the community, and he's done an excellent job, and he chose not to run again after 6 years. He thought that he had bypassed what his knowledge was for the group. And so we do thank him very much and appreciate all he has done for not only rec, but for the entire community, so.
The next item is an update on the Trafalgar Road fire. What I encourage everybody to view the next video. We're going to actually film a second video today, and we hope to have that put out on our website either today or potentially tomorrow, depending upon how long it takes. It takes Tim a little bit of time to put everything together. And we're normally recorded in the morning, which allows us to distribute it in the afternoon. In this case, we're recording in the afternoon, so we may not be able to get it out today. But I encourage everybody to go to that video and to view it to get as many updates as possible. Over the weekend, Ruth and I had a conversation, and she was approached by 5 different people asking questions, and she asked every single one of them if they had watched the video. They all said no. She asked them to call her back after they were done, and all 5 of them came back and said, my question was answered.
It made sense, and any questions they had were answered, and I asked if there were any other questions for future, and they didn't know what to ask other than what was given.
Well, a number of property owners have provided me with additional questions, and in many cases, I've sent back and told the resident, hey, I'm going to do a second video. If you have any additional questions, let me know. And I've added those questions to the list. So hopefully, I view this as when the entire situation is done, I wouldn't be surprised if we have 5, 6, 10 videos. I don't think that's a bad thing to keep everybody involved and keep them informed. It's very important to keep them informed as to what's going on with the fire. So look forward to having that released fairly soon. So I'll just hold off on an update and just have the video speak for itself.
Yeah. And the tone when these people talked to me to begin with was not always real pleasant and pretty. And after we discussed it, after the video, things were clear and they understood. So it made a big difference.
Tom, where are we at on the timeline right now?
We submitted the plans to put out the fire on Friday at 2:45 per the requirement of the contract. We're waiting on a green light from ADEQ. Our contractors are ready to mobilize and get here. We're just on part of the plan. We received comments back. We're just waiting for the rest of the comments back. What's good is that ADEQ has been working with us. Our contractor has been working with them, and so, you know, when they're going through the plans, there's no surprises. Everybody's talked about it already, so hopefully we'll get the green light today. We were anticipating it yesterday, but hopefully we'll get the green light today to mobilize. Anything to add, Doug?
No, I think you covered that there were, you know, some back and forth between ADEQ and our contractors, that they were just clarifying a couple of things, and so as soon as we get those final comments back from ADEQ, then they're gonna, we're ready to mobilize.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, any others on the Trafalgar Fire? If not, open forum at this time?
Hi, I'm Linda Lloyd. I just wanted to thank you all for what you're doing about the fire and to address David's concerns. I think people who have worked with their own budgets and who are informed about what you're doing will understand. There will, of course, always be a portion of people that will never understand or try to get educated, but I think you got to do what you got to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other open forum? If not, anything else for the good of the cause?
We have, tonight we have the community input meeting on Brittany at 4 p.m. at Reardon Hall. Just want to make sure as many residents attend as possible.
And all board members are asked to be present at 4 o'clock. Going on from there, the annual meeting is Tuesday, the 21st at 6 o'clock at Reardon Hall. The board officers and liaison will meeting will be on Thursday at 4 o'clock here in the boardroom. That's a closed session to select chair and vice chair and the liaison, what committee you choose to be on. Board of Directors next Thursday, the 23rd at 6 to discuss all of the things that we moved on from today. Marina grand opening is Wednesday, June 5th from 3 to 6 at the Marina at Lake Point. And the GM meeting is June 6th at 2:30 in the boardroom. It is a change of date because of the APT tournament here, and most of you will be on the course working for me. Board of Directors work session will be June 20th at 9 o'clock, and the regular directors meeting will be the 27th at 6 o'clock.
One more item.
One more item.
Encourage residents to vote. As of this morning, we're at 24.2% have cast their vote, running out of time, so we encourage our residents to vote.
Okay. Anything else? If not, we stand adjourned.